Here are the steps to replacing the pivot switches on our SC75 concrete buggies. Required tools are an 8mm wrench, a 12mm wrench or socket, and a Phillips screwdriver. The only parts required are 2 Omron brand limit switches. Remove the front cover secured by 2 bolts to gain access to the switches. Unsecure the wiring harness from the clip and expose electrical connectors. Disconnect switch from its electrical connector. Below the switches and beneath the machine, remove the 2 bolts. Carefully remove the switch from inside of the machine. Complete the same step for the switch on the other side. With the 2 switches now in hand, remove the 2 screws to take the bracket off of each switch. Please note switch orientation. Mount the 2 new Omron switches to their brackets in the correct orientation. Insert the switches back in the machine and bolt the switches in place. Set each switch's arm gap from 0.08 to 0.125 inches. Reconnect the electrical connectors and secure the wiring harnesses back in their clips. Repeat the same steps to install the other switch. Pivot the bucket to ensure the gap between the rubber stopper and the turntable is 0 to 0.2 inches. Pivot another 180 degrees to ensure the other side is the same. If the rubber stopper gap is too large or too small, a limit switch adjustment is required. Each limit switch corresponds to the rubber stopper on the opposite side. Loosen the limit switch bracket using the 2 bolts holding it in place at the bottom of the machine and slide towards the outside of the buggy for a larger rubber stopper gap and towards the middle of the buggy for a smaller rubber stopper gap. Once the gap between the rubber stopper and the bucket is between 0 and 0.2 inches on each side, reinstall the cover plate with the 2 bolts and your project is finished.